Throughout pop culture, split personalities have been shined in a very negative light. You got the likes of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Green Goblin, Gollum, the guy from Split, Hulk, and the narrator and Tyler Durden from Fight Club. I mean, every single time there's a split personality character, they are bonkers, right? But recently I watched a film based on a true story. The ending is a bit different, but yeah, most of it is based on a true story. It was called Hitman. And in this film, it's about an undercover police officer, like civil. He's a regular Joe, but he works for the police sometimes. And he pretends to be a hitman and helps people order hits on the people they love to create the federal crime. It's a great film. And in the film, the main character, played by Glenn Powell, learns to kind of embrace these personalities, which kind of got me thinking. Like in the film, they talk about how well do you know yourself. I mean, how well do you know yourself? Do you have a strong sense of who you are? I don't know if I have a strong sense of who Bilal is, so I'm trying to figure that out. And also the idea of yourself kind of being an act, like an illusion slash facade you put on to the people around you to try and show yourself in a certain way. Embodying, it's kind of like embodying the change rather than just thinking about it. And in the film, they slightly brush over this topic, but I did some of my own research into it. It's the Freudian concepts of ids and the egos and the constant struggle with each other. Sounds fancy, but let me just give you the quick rundown of it. So the ids or the ids or IDs, I don't know which one it is because I was reading it, but I'm gonna go with ids. The ids are your desires, the urge to kind of just go for that pursuit of pleasure, the being lazy, being lazy, going clubbing, just going after your deep dark pleasures and desires. The super ego is your conscience. It's following the rules to the T. It's being rewarded for kind of behaving properly. And the in between is ego, the middleman, the bridge between instinct and logic, attempting to maximize pleasure without and also minimizing the costs. Or yeah, so a successful person is to believe in order to have a strong ego, so it's always getting the maximum amount of pleasures but also minimizing the costs. Freud believed that when the three components become too out of balance, a person can suffer physically or mentally a lot. There are a lot of repercussions. If a person's id is too dominant, they might just indulge in harmful impulses without considering the consequences and kind of screwing themselves over. And if their super ego is too dominant, they'll just live like an overly ordered, rigid, boring lifestyle, ignoring what they actually want or need just to get by. And there's always that constant battle between yourself and like, am I doing this just to do it, or am I doing it for me? Or it's kind of figuring that out. So that's kind of what the Freudian concepts of ids and super egos are. You are now an expert in it, like me. Okay, so I'm kind of gonna give you another example of a film. So I recently watched a film called Fight Club, and in the movie we're introduced to the narrator, who's the textbook super ego. He's always following the rules. He does his job just to do his job. He buys IKEA furniture just to fit in. Like he is embracing the social norms and behaving properly. And then later on in the film, we are introduced to Tyler Durden, someone who he is the id to the max. He embraces his desires, doesn't follow the rules, chases pleasures, an endless appetite with no boundaries is how you would describe Tyler Durden. And you kind of see the constant struggle between the two. And then it's the spoilers, okay, but it's an old film, so sue me. But yeah, you kind of see the struggles between the two, and you realize that Tyler Durden is just in the narrator's head, and just actually he is Tyler Durden as well. And by the end of the film, we see the protagonist get rid of the Tyler Durden side of him, but is now a balance between the two. You can see that he's not the same person what he was. He wasn't the complete super ego. He's now a balance between the two, also known as the ego. And I was thinking, okay, how could I use this information for in real life? One example, and kind of the inspiration for this video, is that recently Donald Glover uh, announced that he's retiring the Childish Gambino persona, and I was like, okay, what does that actually mean? And I thought back to the Hitman movie, and then I watched Fight Club, and I was like, okay. So, quick rundown: in 2009, he was a lovable TV show actor known for his role on Community, and maybe some other stuff. Too. I don't know pre 2009 Donald Glover, because I was 7. But yeah, he was a lovable guy. He was known as I wouldn't say he's complete super ego, but he was getting towards there, and but he wanted to pursue his artistic side of things, and by creating that persona, Childish Gambino, who was kind of represented as the id, he was able to pursue the two at once, kind of having different personalities, and over time they slowly merged together, which is why he feels like he doesn't need to be Childish Gambino anymore. He is Donald Glover. People see him as an actor, a musician, father, a writer. He's got that ego. So the question is how can you use this information to kind of improve your life? Like, how is this information useful to you? So I'd first say is have a look at where you yourself would lie out of the two. Would you say you're closer towards the id, the chasing after your desires, the pursuit of pleasure, or are you closer to the superego, the follow the rules, just do living to societal norms, I think a lot of people are closer towards superego, but yeah, everyone's different. So which one are you? And then you kind of got to think, what would the version of you want to achieve, which is what different to everyone. What side are they closer to? The opposite side? Is that like a is dream you? What is dream you? So for me, I'd say I'm closer towards the id. I just it's more laziness rather than anything. So I kind of create this personal persona of the best version of Bilal, who does what he needs to do, gets the job done, and kind of embracing that into situations where regular me, I don't want regular me to perform, And over time, you get this Jujutsu Kaisen Hollow Purple Gojo realization, you get the red, you get the blue Hollow Purple, kind of creating that ego, which is the best version of you. And that's kind of the idea of it. I don't know if the idea of it's exactly Hollow Purple and Jujutsu Kaisen, but, that's kind of how I see it, that's what we're going to go with. But, if you found this useful or anything, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it below. Like and a follow go a long way. I'll see you next time for another ramble about something or video games or I don't know.